Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley here with you at WFMY, and I'll tell you, we are tracking a strong weather change. This is coming up for our Wednesday evening here, and over the course of a few hours, we're going to notice a big cold front moving through the area that's going to drop our temperatures like a rock. This is going to bring a couple of different impacts to our region. Number one, it's the temperature drop, right? That makes sense with a cold front moving in, but it's also going to be kind of a taste of winter that we haven't really felt all that much of in our fall season. So more of the cold, more of that nasty wind that we haven't seen too much of in the fall season either. As I mentioned, gusty winds are going to be a part of this cold front. On our Wednesday evening, when it rolls on through, we'll see wind gusts of about 30 to 35 miles per hour right there along the front. And on top of that, like we said, the temperatures will be dropping from the 60s, where we've been very warm, all the way down into the 30s going into the nighttime hours. This is mostly happening between 6 o'clock in the evening through about midnight, and once we get beyond that, the temperature will only get a little bit colder. So go ahead, find the winter gear now before it's too late. It can be tough to find out where those gloves and mittens went over the course of the summertime. This cold front, again, knocking on the doorstep. This is around 7 o'clock here. That front really moving into the North Carolina mountains. Not much rain ahead of it. Instead, it's pretty dry this time. We could find a scattered shower with this cold front, but more or less, this is going to be a dry front with a big temperature change and the gusty winds. The weather setup for this is pretty clear. What we have, whenever you have a cold front in place, there are two air masses. An air mass is just a big group of air that has similar characteristics. So on the front side of this, it's been warm, and it's even been a little on the muggy side. That's our warm air mass. On the back side, here's the colder, drier air that's rushing around the country. That front is the barrier and boundary between the two of those. And a lot of times that can mean some pretty interesting weather right at that boundary. In this case, it's going to be a big whoosh of gusty winds right there for the Wednesday evening time frame. And notice how quickly the temperature drops from the 60s down to the 30s. So it really is going to feel a lot different, like a different season early tomorrow. Notice too, up in the Midwest with this colder air, it will be cold enough for snow showers. So while we are dry overnight tonight and into the morning on Thursday, that type of air, it is rotating around this low pressure system. Fully expecting a cold and windy day all day on Thursday with wind gusts of around 30 miles per hour, and that's going to stick around for Friday too. And you can see where the air is coming from. These lines on the map show you the wind direction. It comes right in from Canada through the Midwest, down through the Mid-South, and into us here in the Carolinas. So this is some of that Canadian air. That's where it's coming from, and that's why it will feel quite cold over the next couple of days, and quite windy too. That wind, once it kicks up on the day on Thursday, we'll see it go away for Thursday night and then come right back for Friday afternoon. So we have two cold and windy days on tap for us here, and you'll notice, you see that little shade of white? That is snow flying in the North Carolina mountains during this time frame too. They're going to have 2 snowy days before we get into the weekend, and we will be cold and dry. Let's dive in some of the more of the details here. The front itself moving through the Piedmont really around 8 to 9 o'clock for most all of us. This is around 7 o'clock on our forecast model. Notice the colder air starting to rush in. These are our foothill counties, Surrey County, Yadkin, and Wilkes. Temperatures dropping there pretty quickly. At this time, it has the front right about through the Triad. By around 8 to 9 o'clock, we're going to notice it's pretty much gone. And then by 11 o'clock, all of us are in the colder air mass as that cold front has pushed through. At that point, 32 in Boone, 41 in Wilkesboro, 48 in Greensboro. Again, that's by around 11 o'clock this evening. As we go toward midnight and 3 a.m., the 30s are rushing in too, and the overnight lows will be in the mid-30s for pretty much all of us early on our Thursday. And it won't warm up all that much tomorrow. We are expecting low 50s. That's what it'll actually be, but it really will feel a lot colder than that. Meantime, take a look here. Just look at Boone and keep your eyes peeled. Notice how it's snowing, and it keeps snowing, and it keeps snowing. We're going from Thursday afternoon to Thursday night, Friday morning into the Friday afternoon time frame. They are really going to have a blast of early season winter. Let's talk about our temperatures. These are actually the feels like temperatures. Specifically, we call this the wind chill. In the winter season, when you have wind blowing around, it actually makes your skin colder than it would be otherwise. It blows away a little layer of warmth that our bodies keep above our skin by that warmer air. And when it goes away, your body cools down a lot more quickly. This is the wind chill for tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. Temperatures will be in the mid-30s to start the day. As the day goes along, we try to warm up, but it's going to be tricky. It'll still feel like the 40s outside. On Friday, this is the coldest that we're going to get. I'm expecting the wind chill on Friday morning to be in that 20-degree range. So upper 20s is what it feels like while you're getting your Friday going. And then throughout the day, it's still windy out there. The high temperatures are in the 40s. It'll feel like the low 40s. So that's why we say make sure you have that winter gear ready to go for the next couple of days. It is going to feel like it for sure. Now let's talk about the winds. The winds with the actual cold front will be pretty impressive, sustained at around 20 miles per hour, but gusting around 30 to 35 miles per hour, maybe even a couple of 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Usually that's not enough to cause big-time power outages or anything like that. So that's not our main concern. It's just something you're really going to notice, and we want to make sure you're aware of it before it happens. Going through the rest of the night, the wind will go away, so it's not all that windy when you wake up on Thursday morning. But take a look. As the day goes on Thursday, the winds will pick right back up. It's cold and it is blustery. That's kind of the way these days work. You'll start the morning with sunshine, the earth heats up a little bit, and then you create these cycles of wind that kind of pattern up for the afternoon. We will expect that again for Friday afternoon. So those 2 days are going to be cold and also windy right here in our Piedmont area of North Carolina. Now let's talk a little bit about the snow. The way this weather system works is after the front goes by, you're still seeing a wind out of the northwest for a couple of days. We call this a northwest flow weather pattern. That wind coming in like this from this direction, the mountains are oriented like that. So that's the slope of the Blue Ridge Mountains. When they come in from the northwest, they really hit it at an angle, a perpendicular angle, and it forces that air to rise up on the western slopes. What we're going to see is that the air gets rising and rising quickly on that side. It's going to condense, making clouds, making showers, and in this case, making snow showers at those higher elevations. And boy, will it count too. With 2 or 3 days of this, they're going to see some pretty impressive snowfall totals. In many of the areas above 3,000 feet, they can expect about 1 to 4 inches of snow. That would include a lot of popular places that you might be familiar with: Blowing Rock, Boone, West Jefferson. They're included in that 1 to 4 inch range. Asheville, probably not picking up any snow with this. Mountains north of town, a little bit of that. However, once you get to the highest of high peaks, 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet in our Carolina mountains, those are the tallest that they get. Roan, Beach, those are some examples. They could see some impressive snowfall totals well above 6, 7, 8 inches or so. We'll be watching a lot of our live cameras up there. This is the view of Sugar Mountain before anything gets going up that way. Boone, of course, too. We'll be watching there to see what kind of snow shows itself going into Thursday and for Friday as well. Again, it'll be a 2-day snow event. They have a lot going on in Boone this time of year, and there is an App State homecoming game on Saturday. Most of any of the snow that were to happen, that should be winding down at that point. Why is this all happening in the first place? Well, it really has to do with the jet stream. And in the winter season, the colder months, the jet stream is king. It really drives our weather patterns. The way it's going to be set up for tomorrow is a big dip. We call it a trough, but a big dip in the jet stream will be happening over the eastern United States. All you need to know about that is when the jet stream really dives south, it makes it much more easy for colder air to slide south from Canada into the United States. Our weather pattern will stay that way through Friday, but once we get into Saturday and Sunday, notice how it relaxes a little bit. That's going to level things out. Our temperatures should return a little bit closer to normal, which this time of year is right around 60 for the afternoon and right around 40 for nighttime. That's what we're expecting by Sunday into Monday, and most of the early Thanksgiving week should be a little bit above average too. Once we get to Thanksgiving Day itself, there could be another storm that starts to kick up and get going, mostly for areas to our north along the East Coast. So to sum it all up for you, we do have a News 2 weather impact alert for Wednesday evening into early Thursday morning because of this, the big 30-degree temperature drop. It's just going to change the way you feel and how you go about your day out there. And those gusty winds will be noticeable, and remember, they stick around quite a bit through the day on Thursday and into Friday as well. Hour by hour, we'll go from the 60s at 6 o'clock to the 40s by midnight and then down into the 30s by your Thursday morning. Here's how Thursday works out. It'll be cold in the morning. Those smaller temperatures, those are the wind chills. These are the air temperatures. So throughout the day here, notice we'll get to around 52 or so, but it's going to feel like it's in the 40s because of this, those gusty winds coming in at 20 to 30 miles per hour. And then the nighttime for Thursday night into Friday morning, that'll be the coldest that we get. This is a freeze watch for all of our Triad counties, all the way over to the Raleigh area too. What that means, it's possible for us to get our first hard freeze of the season. When you get to 32 degrees during the fall, that's called a freeze. And what that means, it can do damage to crops and agriculture and plants and flowers, things like that, that like warmer weather. Well, we usually have one of these by October 29th. On average, that's when we see our first 32-degree temperatures. The earliest on record would be October 2nd, back in the 1940s. The latest on record is December 1st, not all that long ago, in 2009. For a while, it looked like we might challenge that record, but it does appear that Friday is going to have a chance to be that first freeze of the season for us here in the Piedmont. Right now, we're forecasting a low of 31 degrees for Friday morning. And remember, it's going to stay cold pretty much all day. Highs are in the 40s. There's a real gusty wind out there, and it will feel cold all the way along. After that, we'll get up into the 50s for Saturday, and less windy too. The weekend is looking really nice after some blustery days. We'll be in the 60s by Sunday and warming it up into the mid-60s as we go into Thanksgiving week. Keep an eye on the forecast as we get closer to Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll let you know what to expect for Thanksgiving. In the meantime, you can get all the latest weather info on your phone using the News 2 weather app or online on WFMYnews2.com or on WFMY Plus on your smart TV.